Everyone, on this Saturday evening, an impromptu video that was actually prompted by a conversation I just had with my dear friend Jessie on Nichols George. For many of you who have been following my journey through healing with a cancer diagnosis, I have been sharing my journey in posts and videos for the last several years as I've gone through different layers of progressions. I haven't been posting as much because I have been limiting the shares to the two fundraisers that I'm running, one on Facebook and one on GoFundMe. And in the conversation that I was having with her tonight, she said that she would love for me to do a video to talk about the successes and the shifts that I'm experiencing at this point in time. So when that suggestion is put out to me, if you know me well, I usually take action on things very quickly, because that's when oftentimes I have the most guts and courage to be authentic and show up in the way that I want to without giving too much attention to scripting things out in my mind, and I can just really speak from the heart. So what you may or may not know is several months ago, after coming through a very strong period of what felt like a lot of healing, where I was experiencing feeling so much better in my body, I started to notice that there was some shifts in my breast that looked as if there was a cancer progression that was very scary for me. Hi, Jackie. And that was right around the time that I invited many people to join me in a 21-day God immersion group in which I shared every day, is my cat over here, my experience of being in close conversation and connection with God, the divine, Jesus, the universe, whatever your language is. I felt a clarion call to do that. And of course at the time, because that relationship is so important to me, I didn't fully understand how significant that investment of time and energy would be to help me with things unfolding as they have over the coming months after the ending of that 21 days. The group is still happening right now, and we're having a lot of fun in that group, posting the successes and the blessings that we're having. So what I have been sharing when I started the fundraiser, my cat's very active right now, is that things had progressed to such an extent that I was in conversation with my doctors about what the options were. And I have always chosen to go a more natural path, even though I have done some of the traditional suggestions, such as radiation. When we looked at the situation going on with my breast, it became very clear that the options that they were suggesting were ones that I could not, in my heart, agree to, nor was I being guided to by God to follow. And so it was a huge, huge leap of faith for me. And I'm not going to say that it was about going against traditional medicine. It was, how can I find a way for East and West to come together in a way that resonates with my heart and that also supports what my process of healing is meant to look like, because it's individual. And I've always been a firm believer that what you believe to be absolutely true is what you can create. And if you believe that something is going to work for you, you have a really good chance of that working for you. And if you don't believe in it, you have a really good chance of it not working well for you. So a couple of months ago, I started noticing that there were a progression of symptoms that were becoming very difficult. Especially, I was having intense sleep disturbances, and I've written about this in a variety of posts, and I've shared this in the fundraisers, that I was waking up in the middle of the night with just this heat radiating off my breast that was incredibly painful. I was starting to experience bleeding. I was having this incredible itching, and if you have ever really gone through anything like eczema or anything like that, when the itching gets that bad, it's almost like you just want to tear the skin off of you. And so it was really a very hard place for me to be and also remain in trust. I'm grateful that I was able to add through some of the resources that I am privileged to have access to, acupuncture with a woman who is also trained in Chinese herbs. And so we've been using some of those herbs in different combinations to make sure that they're compatible and in harmony with my body, because that's so important, that you're taking things that is going to work with your body's wisdom as opposed to working against it. And so, you know, one of my, I'm going to say learning edges, and this may come as a surprise to you, because when I first discovered this about myself, it kind of surprised me. Many people see me as an optimist, and how I will look to reframe a situation and see the positive and the benefit of it, and I'm very good at that. However, I don't get there in the first couple seconds. I will go more towards more pessimistic and a more fearful state. That's been part of my knee-jerk reaction that I grew up with when I was a child, and so that can still come up. And when I go into that space, I can redirect my attention and intention fairly quickly. But every once in a while, I can still feel myself getting caught up. So when I started having some of these symptoms coming up, and especially being woken up in the middle of the night, which is when the veil between ourselves and our spirit is the thinnest, when it's the time when healing is the most restorative, and in order to heal, we need to be able to sleep. And of course, being able to be calm in that space while I was experiencing all of those symptoms was becoming very difficult. So I was getting more and more exhausted and feeling weaker. And definitely it was an opportunity for me to notice how quickly the victim consciousness within me started to rise. What I want to share with you is I've learned some things that have been very eye-opening. First, I want to share with you is that I am getting a lot more sleep, which is a great success. And I attribute that to different shifts that I have made inside with myself and my human self and my soul self, which is definitely leading with the divine. Also, the combinations of herbs that I've been working with my acupuncturist, have improved. I'm not very itchy at all. I still have some heat radiation, and so we're working with a new herb with that. And I am getting more restorative sleep. I also started to question some things, and that is, what if some of the symptoms, and it could be whether it's a health symptom or the way in which you interpret a life situation, what if the way in which we've become programmed to look at things is not accurate? What if, for example, itching is your body's way of showing you that you're experiencing intense healing? You know, our bodies are so wise. When we give our bodies what they need, they know how to heal themselves. Our bodies are designed to heal ourselves. But what's happened is that we have given so much power to external sources and professionals for their interpretations that we have forgotten that there is this incredible wisdom that we can tap into and work with, either with the professionals or wherever we feel guided, because there's no right or wrong way to do anything. I found that in working with a combination of East and West has worked well for me. And I'm very blessed to be working with a group of professionals over at Penn Medicine who support me while they don't agree and feel that all of my decisions would be the ones that they suggest. They want what's best for me, and I include them in every decision that I make so that everyone on my team is kept in the loop, because I believe that communication is essential when you're working with a team so that everybody's input can be considered so that you can make the best informed decision. And I always take everything back inside to the greatest healer, to the greatest consultant and guide that I know, and that is my soul self and my divinity. So I want to share with you that I am sleeping better, that even though I am continuing to have some bleeding, what I believe is happening is that my body is releasing a lot of toxins through blood. I'm continuing to work with the Photon Genie, which brings oxygenation into the cells of the body, which does kill cancer. My point is that I'm learning to question that some of the symptoms, some of the ways in which we believe things may be limited, that there might be a lot more going on. So I believe that I am healing at a very rapid rate, although I would love to wake up tomorrow morning and be completely healed. That may or may not happen. I've come to a place of accepting the fact that I have cancer. And if you've ever heard me talk about cancer before, I've never said it that way. I've said I have a cancer diagnosis, I'm dealing with a cancer diagnosis, but I have specifically sidestepped and said I have breast cancer because I don't want to own that. I knew that was true, but I didn't like saying it, so I refused to say it. I don't know where this journey is taking me. I've had many conversations with God and have gotten a lot of assurance that I'm on the right track, that everything that I am doing in the choices that I am making with food, with rest, with the photon therapy, with the Chinese herbs, with the acupuncture, and anything else that I feel guided to add that is alternative, is keeping me on the right track. And of course, what's also helping me to stay strong are you who have held space for me, you who have supported me on this journey, have been observers to my experience, because I think that we're being guided into new ways of living and being, including the way in which we deal with our health, whether it's mental health, physical health, whether you're dealing with a cancer diagnosis, that there are layers, there are ways of asking questions and getting information and looking at things from multiple perspectives that we've never considered before. And that doesn't mean ignoring symptoms. This, to me, is about standing in a place of integrity and bringing in and allowing all of your thoughts to have a voice, all of your feelings to have a voice. For me, it's ultimately bringing that back inside to the resonance, to my intuition, that has always guided me in the right direction. I know that I'm healing. I know it. I know that I'm experiencing relief. I know that I have the tools that I need at this point in time to help me take the next steps. What those next steps are, I don't know. What that outcome is, I don't know. I do know that I am exactly where I need to be, and I'm saying that not from this old, throwing out all these phrases that feel more conceptual rather than heart-centered. I have so many confirmations by the way that I'm feeling, and I pay very close attention to where my thoughts are, to ask myself which voice is speaking to me right now. Not to shame any part of myself that might be feeling small or scared, but always to continue to bring it back to my soul self, because when I stand and listen to the wisdom that comes from my soul and my divine self, I am always guided to make the right decisions. You know, none of us know how long we're going to be on this planet. I've placed my mortality in God's hands, and I have greater trust in God than ever before. As I'm sitting here, I feel really good in my body. Now, if you had talked to me several hours ago, I probably would have said something else because I was in a bit of a pity party. And I didn't want to talk to anybody from there. I didn't make myself feel bad about that. I needed to cry a little bit, and then afterwards I felt my soul come right in, really, really strong. And I could take that deep breath because I needed to let some of that energy move. That's what I'm talking about, moving energy. So I don't know if I'm ever going to be cancer-free. I would love that to be true. Right now my focus is in living an optimal life, whatever that looks like, with or without cancer. Not giving it any power over me, because I know that in my immortal self, in my soul self, and this is true for you as well, that we are more powerful than anything that we face. And I want to also offer another thought, because I have felt this for many, many years. There are times when we find ourselves dealing with a situation that feels overwhelming, even impossible. And everybody has different buttons that get pushed in order to break through some of that armor and that protection. For me, it's been something happening with one of my beloved cats. That'll bring me to my knees. Other times it has been a financial crisis, or it could be a health crisis. I know that a health situation is one of the things that scares people the most because it has to do with our mortality. And when we're not feeling at our best, it affects everything in your life. And it's so easy to get into that place of fear and give your power away to someone that you think knows better than you. That's why I'm such a believer in getting informed, getting information, asking questions, and then bringing that inside, having a strong connection to your soul and your divine self. And that takes practice, that takes commitment. I've been on my spiritual journey for over 30 years, and I am still strengthening that connection with my soul self. And I can tell you there are times when I will hear something and I will still wonder and question whether that's really the truth or whether that's something that I want to hear. And then it's like this little voice that says, does it really matter? Decide what you want to be true and take a stand for that. So here's my stand. I am healing. I am experiencing relief. I am always divinely guided. And I fully intend to live my life to the very best of my ability every single day, and to honor all of the feelings that I have without making myself bad or wrong, and paying attention to when it's really easy to slip into wallowing, to slip into your story, when you're no longer moving the energy and you're allowing the story that you tell yourself to dictate what your life is going to look like and feel like. That's how powerful you are. So I invite you to take a breath with me on that. Let's take a breath. Whatever you're facing right now, this is an incredible period of time. This is a powerful time of extreme transformation, just like a health diagnosis can be a powerful opportunity for transformation at a level that you couldn't get to any other way, because it breaks you down. It breaks through the barriers. It brings you to your knees. And just because you're at your knees doesn't mean you're weak. It allows you to open up your heart and hear the whispers of your soul because you're not fighting anymore. That's how it's been for me. So I'm going to if you would like to support my journey by making a donation, please know that it will be used well and that my healing is your healing, that we are here to lift each other up, that no matter what you're facing in your life is meant to not hurt you or break you. It may be because it's the best way to dismantle some of the old programming that is keeping you stuck from flying and shining and being the light that you are meant to be and sharing your gifts with the world that the world needs now more than ever. That's how I feel is true for me. So while I've been off for the last couple of weeks, I'm back. I'm back and I'm feeling strong. And I thank you so much for those of you who have followed my journey over the years. And please know that I'm here for you. My step is your step. Let's start changing the way in which we are living our lives. Financially, from a health perspective, let's deepen those connections with our soul and our divine self that has the wisdom that our mind will never have. And let's find ways to live in harmony so that we can be coming from a place of integrity and find out what our true power is really like. Because I will tell you, I am discovering things that I'm capable of doing that I never realized before. And even in those times that I shake, and I do, I can feel my soul opening her arms to me and saying, come, let's walk together. And there is always a solution that is found for me as long as I am willing to get out of the way, let go of the battle, surrender. And another thing that I have asked my soul, and I invite you to do the same if this resonates, is whatever you don't know how to do, your God self does know how to do. So oftentimes I will sit down in meditation and I will say to my soul, help me to work with my ego, help me to work with my humanity, so that it feels some assurance, so that it feels less fearful, so that it can get on board with the rest of us, so that we can work in unity. And the more that I do that, the better I feel. So I'm on my way back. I don't know what 2020 is going to look like for me and for any of us, but I'll tell you what, I'm ready. And I'm putting my stake in the ground. I'm healing. I'm getting stronger. And I am opening that space to invite you to look at what is it that you need to clear, that you need to start owning, that you need to perhaps open your mind and look at from different perspectives, to be in inquiry, to question, and not be so quick to assume that something is the truth because you've been programmed to believe it. One of the things that God said to me a while back was, don't believe everything you see. And I would add that to don't believe everything you think. And don't believe everything that you feel. I know that when wisdom comes to me through my soul, it never lies. There is always a resonant quality. There is always a strength. There is always an uplifting energy to it. God never lies. Your body never lies. Your humanity, a lot of stories there, a lot of programming, a lot of lies. So from my heart to yours, I thank you for spending time with me. I invite you to share this video with anyone you think who might benefit from hearing what I have shared. And if you would like to support my fundraiser, I will be posting the links in the comments below. And just know that I say this with deep gratitude. Whatever amount you might feel guided to offer is going to be used well, and it will come back to you 1,000-fold. Not that I needed to really say that, but when we give from the heart, we receive simultaneously. So I'm sending you lots of love, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening, a wonderful rest of your holiday, and remember, you are more powerful than anything that you face, and when you stand strong with your soul self and your divine, you will tap into a power that will blow your mind. God bless.